Welcome to week 4 of the Ready program. I hope you have been enjoying the activities, and I've loved watching all the different interactions you have been doing with your children and some of the creative ideas. Parents, you're doing a great job. This week, we're going to continue with alphabet knowledge and letter knowledge. You've already spent some time with the activities talking about letter symbols and what those letters each look like. You've also talked about how some have straight lines and some have lines and curves, and some letters are just made up of curves. This week, we're going to add the sound component of alphabet and letter knowledge. The sound component is going to take a lot of modeling on your part. It's a very abstract concept for children. Letters are concrete, so they can look at that letter, they learn that letter shape. But when you add the sound component to it, it's a little bit more difficult. So they're going to try and make those connections between a letter symbol and the sound that that letter makes. So this week, most of our activities are going to focus around letters and their sounds. We want you to take time when introducing these letter sounds. We want mastery. We don't want to rush these. We want to make sure we introduce the sounds correctly. It's very common when we introduce letter sounds to add what we call the or schwa sound on the end of letters. And we want to be careful not to do that. For instance, letters like B, P, T, G, a lot of these M, we tend to add the or schwa sound on the end of them when we model that. For instance, B. When we teach a child the letter B, we don't say it makes it sound B, it makes it sound B. Some of the letters like M, you tend to string those out a little bit longer when you blend those into other words. But the big thing I want you to be aware of is not adding that sound onto the beginning letter sound. For instance, it's B, not B, K, not K, D, not duh. So you hear that sound. When a child is learning how to read, they need to just make that initial sound without adding anything onto it. It's a little tricky. You'll get used to it. You can always Google it and listen to the correct way to make the sounds. Don't stress too much about it. We're all learning. But it's going to be a lot of modeling. Again, the letter symbol itself is tangible. You can touch it. You can hold that letter, that magnetic letter, but the whole sound association is something a little bit unfamiliar to children. So this is going to be a lot of fun learning, a lot of fun games. So let's get started. This week, we're going to be chefs, and we are going to do an activity called alphabet soup. So you want to find yourself a bowl. I chose a plastic one because when I got my metal bowl out, all the magnetic letters stuck to it. So that wasn't easy to access the letters. So I've got myself a plastic bowl. Any bowl will work at home. Get yourself a spoon. Doesn't have to be a wooden spoon. And then you're going to dump in your letters, magnetic letters. Now, if your child's still struggling with just the A, B, C, D, just put in those few letters. If your child is familiar with the entire alphabet, has no difficulty recognizing the letters, you can dump in the entire alphabet. If you want to just do uppercase first, that's fine. You can really change up this activity. You can have the uppercase out and they stir up some lowercase letters and pull out a lowercase, and they can match it to the uppercase that you have out on the table. So there's a variety of ways to do this. But again, you're going to have your alphabet soup. You can take turns, so you can practice that social emotional component, and they will scoop out a letter, and then you can have them identify the letter if that's where they are in their letter knowledge. You can ask them to describe the letter. Is it made up of straight lines? Tell me about your letter. Have them vocalize it. Have them tell you about it. Or you can ask questions, yes or no questions. Does it have curved lines? No, it does not have curved lines. And then you can talk about the letter sound. What sound does that letter make? And you can give the sound association with that letter. H says, so alphabet soup is a fun activity. Again, like I said, you can just have the uppercase in here and they scoop those out and just identify uppercase. You can do a matching, scoop out uppercase and match it to the lowercase. You can have them both mixed in. So you can really change this activity up depending on where your child is ready to learn. Again, we want it to be challenging. We repeat this. We want it to be challenging for your child, but we don't want them to get frustrated. So alphabet soup is a fun way to get your children to review the letter names and introduce letter sounds. The next activity is the name kit. In the platform, they call it the name book, or it can be the name kit. You're going to take your manila envelope, and on the front, your child can write his or her name, or you can write it for them and they can trace it and they can decorate it if they want. But this is going to be used to practice their name, recognizing the letters, recognizing the sequence of letters, again, moving left to right when they put their letters out, and even recognizing the sounds of the letters in their name. So the name bag activity, you'll take your manila envelope, and the first thing I want you to do is use your sentence strip and write your child's name with a little bit of space in between, because we're going to do some activities with it. So you're going to write the name for them. If they want to get a sentence strip and practice writing their own, and you're going to talk about the letters in their first name. They can even trace it with their fingers and talk about the shape of the letter, the name of the letter, and the letter sounds. Your name begins with what? Yes, it begins with W. What sound do you hear at the beginning of your name? Willow. And you can really exaggerate those sounds so they can hear them and how each letter says its own name as you slowly sound it out. So first thing you do is you get your sentence strip and you write your child's name on it for them. Now there's several different things we can do with this activity. One, you can get another sentence strip and write the name and cut them so that your child can take the letters and match them below. So they find the uppercase W and just match it right beneath the letter. Now I encourage them not to just randomly pick up letters and match it that way, but have them look, okay, after your uppercase W in your name, what letter comes next? Talk about what letter, what sound does that make? And then they look for that particular letter instead of skipping to the next letter. What comes after I? You're right. There are two of those. That's the lowercase L. They find that until they've spelled out the entire name. Again, encourage that left to right and finding the first letter. What's the second letter? What letter is next? When you get to the end, what letter is last? Did you notice in your name you have two letters that are the same? So you can talk about letters that are the same, their letter shape, their letter sound, and just take your time with it. So that's one way to do this activity. If that's easy for them, there's another way you can do this activity. You take another sentence strip, and this time when you write the name, you're going to create a puzzle. So they can still use that initial strip as a model, but now you've taken the different letters and you cut them in a way that each letter is cut differently. So it can't be matched up. I can't match up this L, lowercase L, or this O to the I, because the pieces don't go together. You specifically cut them in a way that they're different for each one. So I know that after the W that makes a W sound comes what? Okay, can you find the letter that comes next? What letter is that? What sound do you hear? So you talk about each of the letters, their formation, and the sound that they make until you have the whole name spelled out. And you can do this right underneath your model, so they have something to look at as they're building their name puzzle. So another fun activity in the name bag. Another alternative activity or an extension is to take some of the name sticks, tongue depressors, the wooden sticks that you have. You're going to write the letters on these. Whoops. You're going to write the letters on these. And your child can again do this with the model available to them. Or if they're ready, you can mix up these letters and without the sentence strip model, see if they can spell out their name using the sticks. Now, if any of these activities are really easy for your child, if they have their name down, that's something they're fascinated with, like all children are, because it's very personalized, go ahead and introduce their last name and do the first name sentence strip and their last name sentence strip and give them quite a few sticks to work with and see if they can put them in order. Again, I encourage you not to skip letters, but work left to right and have them search for the letter that comes next instead of putting them out in a random order. This is a fun activity with a lot of different things you can do, and they can all be stored inside your little envelope in your name bag activity for this week. The next activity this week is called the letter scavenger hunt. That means your child is going to go on a hunt for letters. We can get out our special glasses to help us hunt. You can get out that special magnifying glass that you maybe made for your child. You can even have them have a special hat that they put on. Get a hat and label it that their letter hunt hat. Just give them something that, to really make it engaging. You're going to take your letter flashcards that are available for you to cut out. So it has all the uppercase and lowercase letters for you. Now, again, we have introduced A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I this week are the letters of focus. Again, if your child is already beyond that and they know most of their letters, you can go ahead and hide all the letters. Or you can just stick with the few that they know. Maybe they know A really well, they're very successful, and they know D because it's in their name, and they've been pretty consistent with H. We don't want for it to be hard. We want it to be rewarding. So put out the letters that are very familiar to them, that they're really getting a grasp on, but don't have 100% mastery, and then add some others. So you're going to put these out around the room, or you can write them on some Post-it notes if that's easier for you, so you can stick them different places. And they're going to get their special glasses, their special wand, their special magnifying glass, their special hat. Maybe they can dress up in a whole letter scavenger hunt outfit, and they're going to search for letters. Now, there's a couple ways that you can do this. You can hold the uppercase letter and say, can you find the lowercase letter that matches this one? Without even telling them the name. Or you can say, this is what letter? Or this is the letter I. Can you find the lowercase I? And they hunt just for lowercase letters. Or maybe it's the opposite. You hold the lowercase cards in your hand and they search for the uppercase matches. Bring it back, match it, and they'll go find another letter. So there's different ways to do this activity depending on where your child is, or you can change it up throughout the week. You can try uppercase one day, lowercase another, the whole matching idea, or you can have them hunt for a specific letter. Say, bring me back a letter that is only straight lines. So they would hunt for a letter that only has straight lines in it. It could be an F, they might bring you back. It could be an A, that would be a right answer. Any letter that has just straight lines. Now, if they brought you back a D, you'd say, oh, does that have just straight lines? And then talk about that letter. That's what letter? It's the letter D. It looks like it has a straight line and a curved line. So you can do it different ways. You can either describe the letter they're to hunt, you can give a lowercase, uppercase, and then since we're talking about letter sounds, if your child's ready, you can hunt by letter sound. Have them, you can either produce a sound, say, find the letter that makes a B sound. Find the letter that makes a B sound. Can you tell me what letter that is? What letter do you think makes that sound? If they say it correctly, they know they're looking for the letter B, and they would go and find the letter B and bring it back to you. So there's a lot of different ways for them to find the letter. They bring you back any letter, and then you talk about it. What letter is it? Just hunt for a letter, bring one back, and they tell you the name of it. They tell you the shape of it. They tell you the sound of it. Be creative, a lot of different ways for them to look. They can find just letters, find the letter that starts your name. Find the letter that starts mom. Think of words and have them see if they can find that beginning letter, either by the sound, and then identify it when they bring it back. So this is a fun activity. Again, you have these letters available for you. You can use these letters, or like I said, you can put them on Post-it notes because it gives you an opportunity to stick, or you can do both of those. So have fun with that letter scavenger hunt. I look forward to the pictures. The next new activity we have this week is the muffin tin toss. Hopefully you all have a muffin tin. If not, you can write the letters on a card, or use those cards we just talked about, the flashcards, and set them out on a surface spaced apart. But what you're going to need is a muffin tin, some alphabet written down that you can fit into the bottom. I just took the index cards that were provided, and I traced a circle and wrote them myself. I know they have little cards at the dollar store if you want to purchase them, but there's really no need to do that if we have all the supplies. So you're going to need the muffin tin, the alphabet written out, and then you're going to need a bean, a cotton ball, something small that you can toss into the muffin tin, because this is called muffin tin toss, and we're going to toss something into one of these tins and then name the letter that they land on. Again, if you don't have a tin, that's all right. You can space out those letters on the floor and toss something to that. If you have a bean bag, or if you have a small stuffed animal, throw your stuffy to a letter and do it that way. But I'm going to describe it based on the muffin tin. But again, if you don't have this at home, you can make the letters bigger and put them out on the floor and throw something to an object to the letters to have it land on. Again, use your imagination to make it work for you. So the object of the game is you have the alphabet in these tins. Again, it only goes up to letter L, and we've discussed all the way to I. So if your child's very familiar with an alphabet, you can write the rest of the letters out and change these out. You can even mix them up. I have them in order, and it's okay to just have them randomly placed. Sometimes kids get tricky and they start, they may throw it in the object into the letter C, the little bean or a cotton ball. When they toss it, it lands in a C, and they're clever enough to go, okay, A, B, C. Oh, that's C. They know it because they've figured out it's all in order. And that's why they know the C. So sometimes it's good to just mix it up to make sure that they really know it. So you're going to take your object, a bean, a small little rock, whatever that can drop easily. The cotton ball is what's suggested on the directions, but that's lightweight, and sometimes it isn't easy to toss into the muffin tin. This can be a fun game for everybody to play, but they toss it in, and wherever it lands, they identify the letter. What letter did you land on? And you can have, this one has uppercase and lowercase in it. You can fill them with just uppercase letters. I did that. I wrote some with just the uppercase letters. I've also written some with just the lowercase. And you can do it that way. So when they throw it in, they can identify that's an uppercase B. You can talk about the shape of it, lines and curves, and then you can talk about what sound that letter makes. An extension of this activity is you can say, can you throw the cotton ball into the hole, the area to the letter that makes the k sound? So they're going to have to think, okay, what letter makes a k sound? And then they would throw it to the appropriate letter. Now that one's tricky because the C, when it makes the hard C sound, is a k, and so is the K. So they would have two choices if you gave that example. So you can produce the sound, or you can have them throw to a specific letter. Can you throw it to a letter that's made up of lines and curves? Or can you throw it to the uppercase H? So again, you can either give specifics, or they can just toss it and describe it. Now, if all these letters are way too hard, and your child is still learning and they're at the very beginning, and they may know the letter in their name, but they're still working on A, B, C, D, you can fill up the entire thing with just those letters. You can have several uppercase A's, several uppercase B's, and just have A, B, C's, and D's in the muffin tins. You can have a couple of each letter, a couple lowercase, a couple uppercase. So the entire thing is filled with just A, B, C, and D. Make it simple, make it successful. Again, we want mastery. We've discussed that. I would rather have, as a pre-K teacher, a child come to school knowing 7 letters, and they know the letter, they know its uppercase match, they know the shape and can describe lines and curves, and they know the letter sound, and they know it. They've mastered it. Versus a child that comes and they know 15 letters. Some of them, they know the uppercase, some of them, they know the lowercase, or they know all 26, but they don't know any sounds. And they kind of know most of the lowercase and kind of some of the uppercase, but they're not sure, and they don't have them mastered. We really want that strong foundation and that good grasp of those letters and letter sounds. So again, let's work for mastery. It's not a race. We want your child to be successful. We don't want it to be frustrating. And again, this whole letter sound is the very beginning of that reading process, attaching a sound to a letter symbol and recognizing that each letter makes its own sound. And when I put those sounds together, it produces a word. And when I can produce a word and sound it out, I can read. So it's a big part of that foundation of learning. So we really want to work towards mastery. So this is the muffin tin toss. Again, it doesn't have to be in a muffin tin. It can be teddy bear toss, and you're throwing it to letters on the floor. That works too. Whatever materials you have at home, and something that engages your child and makes it successful. Just thinking off the top of my head, if you have a child who has a favorite truck, maybe he or she drives his car to the letter that makes the ass sound. Have him drive the car now to the letter that makes a sound. It doesn't have to be the cotton ball in the muffin tin. This is just an example and an idea. Then you can take it from there and really use your imagination. You'll be surprised. I've already seen it on the Facebook page, some of the ideas you've come up with, and it's really fun to watch. So muffin tin toss. The next activity that is new this week is our alphabet rainbow. You have 2 mats. You have an uppercase mat provided for you, and you have the lowercase. Again, some may just be working on that uppercase. That may be where they are, and that's fine. And again, you may just be talking about these first few letters, or you might be ready for all the ones we've introduced, or you might be ready for the entire thing. So you're going to get your magnetic letters out for the letters you want them to match, put them in the middle, and then this on a flat surface, they just go ahead and find the letter. They can do this independently just as a matching activity, or you can direct it and get them to talk about the letters that they are putting on their letter rainbow. And you can talk again about the name of the letter. You can talk about uppercase, lowercase. You can talk about the lines and curves, and you can talk about the letter sounds. It's a good activity for them to do. If you're busy cooking and they want to sit at the table and keep you company, they can be matching their letters, and you can be talking about it. You can even, if you're making something for dinner, and say, I'm over here making the hamburger for dinner. Can you find that letter on your alphabet rainbow? Hamburger, and talk about that begins with the letter H. So it's a fun independent activity, but it's also a good activity for you all to do together to work on letter shapes and formations and the sound they make. So again, we have uppercase, and then they can go ahead and do the lowercase. They can even touch the letters. Of course, many of them know the alphabet song, but touching the letter as they sing it gives that one-to-one correspondence and that connection with the letter that they have on. Because just that song, when kids learn their alphabet song, it's the song that's catchy. They first learn it, and it's not because they're envisioning an A in their head followed by a B, and that's because they put it in that order. It's just that repetition of the song and the tune that's intriguing. But now that they're learning their letters, they can actually sing the song slowly and touch the letters as they sing. So there's that option too. So we're going to be doing more with the rainbow alphabet rainbow mat, and there's some more challenging things that we can do with that we'll talk about later. So enjoy the alphabet rainbow and your magnetic letters to learn the letters in the order that they come in. Alphabet rainbow. This week we are going to continue with pin a letter. I have seen that several of you have really done well with this activity and really working on pinning that entire alphabet. You've already extended it out where you're using most, if not all, of the letters. Again, wherever your child feels comfortable, and there's a variety of things you can do with this instead of just matching upper to lowercase. Again, if this is frustrating and just opening up that clothespin is difficult, you can start with just the first 3 letters and add as you go. Do it where your child still wants to do the activity and doesn't get too frustrated. Now, we talked about on our clip here that you can do matching, if this is easier for your child, matching the uppercase to the uppercase. And talking about this is an uppercase A. You can go ahead, if they can do that easily, let's match lowercase to uppercase. And if that's easy for them and you've done that entire alphabet and they're a whiz at this, then you can talk about the letter sound. You pick up, they pick up you point out a letter and say, can you pin the letter that makes a k sound? Can you pin the letter that makes a f sound? And then they would look for the appropriate pen and find the right clothespin and then match it. So again, you can talk about the shapes, straight lines, curved lines. There's a variety of ways to incorporate all these skills that we're teaching, whether it's letter recognition, the formation, or the sound that the letter makes. Really extend that activity. Again, for some of them, it's just opening this. I'm still seeing a lot of whole hand. Let's move to just the 2 fingers. And if your child's doing this so well, just match with the 2 fingers. So we have uppercase match, lowercase to uppercase match, matching the sound. You produce the sound, or they put the pin on and then have them tell you what sound does that letter make. Or you put the pin on, I'm putting the pin on this letter right here. It's the letter B. what sound does the bee make? And then they can give you the sound. So back and forth, you can take turns or let them be the teacher. That's fun for them. And they can instruct you and see if they have that concept of what you've been asking them to do. So pin the letter. Fun activity. We should have quite a few letters out already. The last activity this week is a review activity, syllable hop. We've been talking about syllables in class, and you're going to continue that again this week with syllable hop. We've talked about using names of the family and hopping out the syllables. We've talked about using favorite foods. Continue with those. You can, as you're doing the syllables, you can incorporate the sounds that you hear when you say that word. If they're going to hop out macaroni, if they're really doing well with 2-syllable and 3-syllable hops, get some of those 4-syllable hops. When I clap that out, listen to the sounds of the syllables. Ma. Hear that? Ka. Hear that? Ka. Roan. R. E. That's the letter I, sounds like the E. So syllable hop, clapping out longer, elephant. See if you can find some long syllables. Maybe you do the states and do Mississippi. Get creative. Do favorite television shows, favorite songs that they can hop out. Use your imagination and come up with some good syllable hops. Finally, this week, our social emotional component is we have been discussing feelings and identifying feelings, and teaching your child about feelings is really something that you have to model, because they don't know why they are, maybe they can't put words to their feelings, what they're feeling when it's hard for them to separate when they come to school. Are they feeling frightened? Are they feeling sad? Are they feeling anxious? Are they feeling worried? And sometimes we have to talk about those, put words for that child to describe what they're feeling, because those feelings are okay and they're very valid. So one way we can do that is when you see that your child is feeling a certain way, you can help label that for them. Boy, you seem really excited that we're going for donuts today. That way they begin to understand, oh, this feeling I have of jumping up and down and can't contain myself, oh, that's called being excited. I know it's a good feeling, but now I know I'm feeling excited. They can start to associate those feelings on other occasions, and they'll start to use that word to describe that feeling. So those are good feelings. I'm feeling happy. Oh, I see you seem like you're feeling happy that your friend gets to come over to play. You seem excited that we're going over here. You can even talk about that by showing your facial features and say, I'm so proud of you when you work like you are working. Now they realize proud is a feeling, and it must be a good feeling because mom or dad is smiling when they say that word proud. So they begin to associate feelings, what's inside of them, with the word that describes that feeling. Now, the ones that are hard for parents are words like when they're feeling sad, or they're feeling mad, or they're feeling frustrated, because sometimes all of those can come at once, or they might be crying because they're worried or anxious. So start to recognize when you see your child feeling that way. If you see them become apprehensive and start feeling uneasy as you're walking into the school building, and you're holding their hand, and you can say, it seems like you are feeling a little nervous about coming to school. That's okay. It's a new place. You're meeting new people. It makes me nervous too to do that. But I'm going to be right here, just like last week. I was right here. So it's okay to feel nervous, but realize it's okay. And mommy's going to be here, or daddy's going to be here, or grandma's going to be there. Acknowledge the feeling, but let them learn how to identify it so they can express it to you. If they become frustrated with one of the activities and they throw the item down, it seems like you're very frustrated. Label that feeling. I understand. I get frustrated when this happens to me. I'm frustrated because the car won't start. So having those feelings is a very, very normal thing. Talking about your feelings with your child in a healthy way helps them to identify their feelings in a healthy way and learn to work through them. So we're doing a lot of talking about feelings. When a child is able to do that and they get to school and they can communicate how they're feeling to their teachers or to their friends, it makes for an easier transition. So feelings and identifying those feelings. But you'll have a great, great week. You're doing a super job. And I look forward to seeing you all in class. Have a great week.